As I stepped into the grand, yet deceiving, entrance of the Parkim Ayaz Hotel Bodrum, I felt a rush of excitement and anticipation. I had booked this hotel for a relaxing getaway, but little did I know, it would turn out to be a catastrophic mistake. The first red flag was the check-in process. It took an eternity, and the receptionist seemed completely disinterested in our arrival. I mean, don't they know that a warm welcome sets the tone for the entire stay? It's hospitality 101, folks. The lack of enthusiasm was palpable, and I should have taken it as a sign to turn back while I still could. But no, I was blinded by the promise of a comfortable room and a rejuvenating vacation. Oh, the naivety. The room, as it turned out, was a claustrophobic nightmare. The air conditioning unit was dysfunctional, making the air thick and heavy. Imagine trying to sleep in a sauna, that's what it felt like. And don't even get me started on the bathroom. The window faced the corridor, which meant that whenever I took a shower or used the toilet, I felt like I was on display for the entire hotel to see. It was like they wanted to strip me of my dignity. I mean, who designs a bathroom like that? Have they never heard of privacy? But, of course, the room was just the beginning. The food at the hotel's restaurant was an abomination. It was like they took all the leftover scraps from the previous week and served them to us with a side of stale bread. The taste was a travesty, a mix of old oil and burnt offerings to the culinary gods. I swear, my stomach still churns at the memory. And the service? Forget about it. Our server seemed like he would rather be anywhere else, and I couldn't blame him. The poor guy was probably trapped in some kind of hospitality hellhole. He took ages to take our orders, and when he finally did, he got them wrong. It was like they were playing some cruel joke on us. But what really took the cake was the cat infestation. Yes, you read that right, cats. They were everywhere, begging for food and leaving their mark on the furniture. It was like they were the true owners of the hotel, and we were just their playthings. I'm not even allergic to cats, but the sheer audacity of it all made my skin crawl. And then, there was the beach. Oh, the beach. It was like they took all the worst parts of a spring break party and condensed them into one tiny stretch of sand. The music was loud, the people were rowdy, and the bars were pushing their overpriced drinks like they were going out of style. It was like they wanted to suck every last penny out of our pockets. But, you know what the worst part was? The hotel's complete and utter disregard for their guests. They didn't care that we were having the worst time of our lives. They didn't care that their hotel was a dumpster fire. They just didn't care. So, I ask you, dear readers, have you ever had an experience like this? Where you felt like you were stuck in some kind of never-ending nightmare? Let me know in the comments below. I need to know that I'm not alone in this struggle. And to the Parkim Ayaz Hotel Bodrum, I say this: you should be ashamed of yourselves. You're not just a hotel, you're a scam, a sham, a mockery of the very concept of hospitality. I'll never set foot in your doors again, and I'll make sure to tell the entire world about my horrific experience. So, what do you think, guys? Have you ever had a similar experience? Share your stories with me, and let's commiserate about the injustices of the hospitality industry.
I'm looking into crimes near Parkim Ayaz Hotel Bodrum. You know? It's like, people go there to relax, have a good time, and then, bad things happen. Like, jewelry and leather stores, they're not what they seem. They lure tourists in with authentic goods at special prices, but really, they're just trying to rip you off. I mean, who doesn't want a good deal, right? But then, they pressure you into buying stuff you don't need, and before you know it, you're stuck with a bunch of overpriced junk. Like, this one tourist, they got charged over 10,000 Turkish liras for a silver bracelet that was later appraised at less than 1,000 Turkish liras. Can you believe it? I predict the tourist was so upset, they probably reported it to the police, but the shop owners just deny everything, saying the sale was voluntary. Like, come on, how could you do that to someone? It's just wrong. And what probably happened to the scammer? Nothing, they just kept scamming people, making a living off of unsuspecting tourists. And then there are these fake designer clothing shops in Gumbet, near Parkim Ayaz Hotel Bodrum. They display counterfeit goods, claiming they're real but without the label. I mean, who falls for that? But people do, and they get ripped off big time. This one story, tourists spot what they thought were real branded handbags and shoes, only to find out later they were fake. Like, how could you sell someone a fake bag and tell them it's real? That's just nasty. I predict the tourists were devastated when they found out, probably felt so stupid and angry. They probably tried to get their money back, but the shop owners just gave them the runaround. And what about the scammer? They probably just kept selling fake goods, laughing all the way to the bank. And have you heard about the restaurants and bars near Parkim Ayaz Hotel Bodrum? They display one menu outside with reasonable prices, but then they give you a different menu or bill with super high prices. Like, this one group of tourists got charged over 4,000 Turkish liras for a meal that was supposed to be less than 1,000 Turkish liras. Can you believe it? I predict the tourists were so upset, they probably argued with the staff, but the staff just got aggressive and threatened to call the police. Like, how could you treat customers like that? It's just so wrong. And what probably happened to the scammer? They probably just kept scamming people, thinking they could get away with it. And then there's the currency exchange scam. Small shops near Parkim Ayaz Hotel Bodrum, they deliberately miscount or miscalculate exchange rates. Like, this one tourist, they exchanged euros for lira and got nearly 20% less than the posted rate. When they complained, the staff claimed it was a commission fee. Like, come on, who doesn't post their fees clearly? I predict the tourist was so frustrated, they probably reported it to the police, but the shop owners just produced some fake fee list and got away with it. Like, how could you do that to someone? It's just so wrong. And what probably happened to the scammer? They probably just kept scamming people, thinking they could get away with it. And finally, there's the dropped and broken merchandise scam. Tourists browsing in souvenir shops near Parkim Ayaz Hotel Bodrum, they get accused of breaking fragile items, even though the item was already damaged or the breakage was staged by staff. Like, this one couple, they got charged 800 Turkish liras for a small vase after being accused of breaking it. Can you believe it? I predict the couple was so scared, they probably just paid the money to avoid trouble. Like, who wants to deal with police and lawyers on their vacation? And what probably happened to the scammer? They probably just kept scamming people, making a living off of unsuspecting tourists. It's just so sad, you know? Tourists come to Parkim Ayaz Hotel Bodrum to have a good time, and then they get ripped off by these scammers. It's just wrong. The businesses surrounding the Parkim Ayaz Hotel in Bodrum, well, let's just say they haven't exactly captured my heart. It's a landscape painted in shades of disappointment, a quiet desperation clinging to every storefront. They operate, these establishments, with a certain calculation, a predictability of letdown. It feels like a place where value goes to quietly disappear. It's not necessarily malicious, just lacking a sort of pervasive, weary mediocrity. And honestly, it saddens me. I feel a little ache in my chest just thinking about it. Let's unpack this. I've spent some time reviewing what others have experienced, and a pattern emerges. A sort of shared disillusionment. It isn't one bad apple, it's the whole orchard producing slightly bruised fruit. The businesses in this area, generally, feel as though they're existing on past reputations, or perhaps on the hope of capturing a tourist distracted by the beauty of the Aegean. It's a bit cynical, isn't it? But the evidence, unfortunately, supports this feeling. Let's start with places designed for leisure. Oasis Mall, for instance. It presents itself as a shopping destination, but the stories tell a different tale. It's described as sterile, cold, empty. Imagine wandering through a space echoing with the ghosts of potential shoppers, a space where the only real interaction you have is with a stray cat seeking a friendly face. A bit tragic, really. People are paying a premium for a cappuccino that tastes like dishwater, a whopping TL40 for something you could get elsewhere for half the price, and actually enjoy. You're essentially paying for the privilege of being politely told by other restaurant owners that you're on their territory. The facilities are old, the staff seem disinterested. It's not a place to find a treasure, it's a place to occupy time. It's a hollow shell of a mall. There's a strange desperation in the reviews, a plea for something to do. It makes you wonder what the mall's initial intention was. A haven of consumerism? A social hub? Now it seems it's merely existing. Then there's the feeling of being nickel and dimed. The food court isn't clean, prices are inflated. It feels like you're being actively discouraged from enjoying yourself. One review from a while back mentioned the disturbing sight of birds trapped in a glass enclosure, struggling in the heat. It's a haunting image, a metaphor for the whole experience, a sense of confinement and suffering. A stark and brutal image, to be honest. It feels like these places aren't built for humans, but for profit. Moving on to experiences promising pampering, the spa at Mandarin Oriental, Bodrum. Now, this is where things get complicated. The reviews are sparse, often simply empty or consisting of a single, dissatisfied sentence. But the messages are loud and clear. It all boils down to a lack of respect. Respect for the work itself, for the people providing the service. There's a sense of a boss, a figurehead, who doesn't value the dedication of his team. This isn't about luxury, it's about fundamental human decency. It's a quiet scream, really. A series of single-star ratings conveying a deep-seated frustration. It's a place where the ambition seems to have withered, replaced by a cold, dismissive atmosphere. I have a feeling a lot goes on behind closed doors. I suspect there's a story there, a web of unspoken grievances. The restaurants are a whole different level of concern. Annalivia Restaurant Gumbet seems to operate under a cloud of frustration. The most common complaint? Waiting. An hour and a half. For a meal. And when it finally arrives, it's often wrong. Raw steak, cold sides, an utter disregard for basic culinary standards. One reviewer described ordering a ribeye that arrived 1.5 hours late and was then dismissed by the staff. They refused to provide bills, scribbling the total on a scrap of paper. It feels shady. A little too convenient. I can feel my blood pressure rising just thinking about it. It's an invitation to be exploited, a place where your patience and your wallet are both actively tested. Some reviews even claim they are told the restaurant is closed when it's clearly open. Something about this place feels off. And then we have Mazi Restaurant, Reservation, Pension. A beautiful location, a stunning view. Completely undermined by shocking service and inflated prices. This is where the feeling of being deliberately ripped off truly blossoms. A meager breakfast, 6